All right. Go ahead. We'll let you guys go. We have a couple of shenanigans going on to start out the new year. How are you? Welcome back.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I'll bet you're nervous as heck.
I am not nervous at all.
All you Michigan fans are all sweating bullets.
Not even close. Speaking of sweat, you saw Jake, but
I've got
you
a
see how
fri-
sweaty Jake was after the game.
I've got a friend who was at the game, and he texted me back last night, Happy New Year from the road. So I texted back, have a good time in Houston with about $9 signs right behind it.
That's going to be expensive to go.
Well,
That is for
he's
sure.
been to the Big Ten title game. Now he goes to the Rose Bowl. I said, you got to go to Houston.
Yeah, you
The
have to.
price came down when Texas lost. Because if Texas had won playing in Houston, they would have had 200,000 requests for tickets. But Washington didn't even sell its allotment for the Sugar Bowl. Now, this one, who knows? Why don't we send you to cover the game?
I don't know if
But
our.
here's the thing: you have to be impartial. You can't be a cheerleader at the games.
Okay, I will be impartial because I happen to absolutely adore Washington's mascot, Dubs.
You're lying right through your teeth.
No, their husky mascot. His name is Dubs. I follow him on Twitter, and I think this is going to be a really, really good game because there's so much going on. You
Fred
have
thinks Washington's going to win.
well, the biggest thing to me is these two teams are going to be in the same conference next year,
That's exactly right.
which I am. So this is a great matchup when you think about that. Plus, this is the first time since 2014 that the championship game will not feature an SEC team. What are your thoughts on that part? Like how the SEC just, I don't want to say they
Well, the game
choked,
went
but
down to the last play.
it did.
I mean, what do I think about that? I think the best team in America is not playing next Monday.
That's Georgia.
But that's the way it works. Basketball, football, hockey, whatever it is. A lot of times, the best team, it's just my own opinion, the best team isn't always in the championship game, because especially on a single game knockout.
Yeah.
So I think they're two good teams. And I think the best player in America is playing next Monday night. But he's not playing for Michigan.
And that would be
Michael Penix,
Penix.
a quarterback who should have won the Heisman Trophy in a landslide. Although they're all arguing with me in there on that. Tell you what, in the NFL draft, I don't care who you are, and I don't care what quarterback you got. That guy, you take number one, and don't ever look back.
and it's in Detroit this year, so we're gonna have a front row seat to that. But I mean, if you want to push to the brass that we should go, I mean, I'll go, Houston. It's going to be a lot of people around here. We have a story coming up later today. Justin Kent was actually in Ann Arbor talking to a lot of people. We're going to be looking at
What
the
newscast is that on
5:30.
today?
Yes.
Well, it's a hot story. They're a hot team. To me, they don't have, to me, one star that stands out over a lot of. They have a lot of very good players that help them. You know, the thing that to me impressed me about them yesterday, I didn't think they played very polished at all, but they beat Alabama.
True.
So-
But also Alabama didn't play very
They
polished.
didn't either.
So here's the
They-
team comparison from last night's game. It was close. It went into overtime. Came down to one play, and it was a close play. I mean, it could have very easily gone the other way, and we would be talking a very different story right now.
It's like Mark D'Antonio used to say, it's a game of inches, and it is. There are just so many. That same thing for Washington, Texas. The thing went to the last play, one way or the other. So here we go.
So what is your thought on how the SEC was represented this year?
Well, I think they have a lot of good teams. I mean, Ole Miss buried Penn State, who buried Michigan State. Tennessee buried Iowa. I mean,
They're still very
I don't
good
think the
conference.
bowl games anymore you can use as a comparison anymore whatsoever because of the transfer portal or the NFL draft. These guys all I mean, Ohio State got 3 points. Come on.
Yeah,
They started 11-0 and they scored 3 points against Missouri.
Missouri, yeah.
Because they didn't have any players left. Florida State screamed about not being in the national championship, and they only got beat by 60. I don't think you can evaluate. You used to be able to do that, but now you can't. There were 9 Big Ten teams in the Bulls, 5 won, 4 lost. There you go. Take it for whatever it's worth.
What do you think about Coach Harbaugh's comment that this Michigan team, has the greatest quarterback Michigan football has seen?
In history, well, I
Coming from a
understand.
former Michigan
Well, I
quarterback.
understand him saying that. I mean, he's supporting his guy. His guys help get him to where they are. He needs his guy to have all the. I mean, let's face it, Harbaugh's legacy could well be determined by how McCarthy plays next Monday. It's hard to win the national title in college sports. It's hard to do.
It is.
And you don't get many chances. And when you're only down to the last game, I don't think he's better than Penix, but I think Michigan's got some better players around their quarterback maybe than what Washington does. I think McCarthy's got to play he's got to play better, in my opinion, to beat Washington. He's got to play better than what he did against Alabama, but maybe he will.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he has talent. I don't know. I just think they got other guys that when things are tough, they got other guys that can make plays for them on both sides of the ball. And Alabama in the first half, I thought, was as bad as I had ever seen them play on offense. And yet they were only down 3 at the half. Then they got the lead. Michigan couldn't move the ball for beans in the second half till the last 4 minutes. And then all of a sudden, bingo. Then they go overtime and move it on Monday.
Monday night, we'll be here
I
bright
think
and
it
early.
helps Washington to be the underdog because all the pressure's on Michigan.
I believe Michigan's a
4.5.
4.5 point favorite.
I'd make it higher than that, but it's 4.5.
All right. We so over the weekend we also saw the Great Lakes Invitational. We actually had it right here on WILX. Joey Ellis was part of our broadcast team, and Michigan State not able to make it all the way past Michigan Tech, but they are still in the top 10 in the USCHO men's ice hockey rankings as of today. They are number 8. What did you think? Did you watch any of it? I know you were.
I was out of town.
Out
I was stunned they did not win it outright, even with guys in the World Junior Tournament, just
There were a
because they
couple.
got a better team, in my opinion, I would think, than Michigan Tech. But, you know, sports one time. I mean, in one game. So I didn't see it, other than I was surprised by the outcome. It goes as a tie. And now this weekend's a waste of time because it's an exhibition game against the under-18 team, so it doesn't mean anything. They'll play a lot of guys, win or lose, it won't mean anything. And I mean, I hate the college hockey schedule. I hate it.
It's rough.
There's too many buys. At
Yeah.
the prime time when you should be playing games, they don't play games. State their last home game was December 9th, and then their next Big Ten home game is not till, the 19th of January. Does that make any sense? I mean,
Basically have. Yeah.
I mean, either play more games or condense the schedule and play it in the wintertime. Don't play it during football season, which is what they do. But nobody asked me.
I did. That counts for something, right? One more thing I want to talk to you about, because I haven't seen you in a while. Pistons finally snapped their losing streak. Barely. They won by 2 points in Toronto on the 30th. That was Saturday. Of course,
What
they
caught
didn't.
my eye was that the Pistons won the game and gave up 83 points in the second half. That's strong. I mean, if they would have gone down on defense and just did jumping jacks, it would have been better than what they were trying to do. Then, with the massive momentum of their big win, they only gave up 136 last night at Houston, including a cool 47 points they gave up in the second quarter. I mean, I got to hand it to them. That's almost 4 points a minute. That's 2 points every 30 seconds. Like I say, if you just did jumping jacks, I mean, so we got a new streak going.
You do. Start all over again.
They're on pace now to go 7-75 if they play that pace out, which I can't imagine they would. But nonetheless, if they do, it would be the worst record in NBA history. I mean, look, Toronto had that big trade during the day of the game in Detroit, so they were absolutely out of whack.
They were.
They didn't know who they were playing, who's going to play, who are you, give me a name tag, whatever. And they still scored 127 points and lost by 2.
It was a wild game, and unfortunately, Pistons could not keep that momentum going. But we'll see how they do the rest of.
Well, they got Utah next to them the road. I mean, Utah's brutal, but the Pistons have lost along the way against some other brutal teams. So to suggest that, they're playing Utah, they'll beat them. Look, I was heartbroken. They wanted that they had something going. Get a streak that's going to go into the Stone Age from here. But now they're just another lousy team.
Yeah, it's kind of representative of the whole season, how they fell just short.
And they still have 49 games to go. 49 Pistons games left.
It's a lot of games.
Until they get their playoff berth.
Playoff on the links is what he's talking about.
Consider this. If the Baltimore Ravens win the Super Bowl, and I think they're the favorite, John Harbaugh is the Super Bowl winning coach. And if Michigan wins next Monday, brother Jim is the National College champion coach. If you think you heard the name Harbaugh in 2023, today's January 2nd, what's the song? We've only just begun.
I did see an interview with Jim and John's parents after the game last night, and their dad is a spitting image of both of them.
They've already coached against each other in one Super Bowl. Now they can each be standing champions of the top college and top pro championship. They might not.
They very well might not be.
They might not, but they could. I think the Ravens are pretty good.
They are.
So next year he can play his brother when the Chargers come into Baltimore. It can be Jim versus John. Just remember, record that and play it back from last January 2nd.
Well, since you brought up the NFL, what are your thoughts on the controversial Cowboys-Lions?
My oldest son
ending?
said if that was Dallas, they never would have called the thing back, and it would have been a Dallas victory. I mean, we were in Florida when he said that. Oh, he says it's just Detroit. They don't need Detroit to win. The league wants Dallas. They won Dallas.
In Dallas.
I love
important night for Dallas.
That's the biggest conspiracy theory in Dallas since Kennedy got shot. I mean, Lee Harvey Oswald is less controversial than that call in Dallas at the game.
It was quite controversial, and I saw earlier today there was talk about the referee crew and how they were demoted. They're not going to be reffing in the playoffs, but they are taking on the Steelers game.
Got that.
So they are still reffing a game.
I tell if they're going to run a play with a tackle eligible, I'd go tell that ref and make sure he just scream in his ear.
Everybody.
You got this now? I'm eligible. Let me know if you haven't heard that.
Have you ever seen anything like that before? Because I know it's very confusing.
I've seen the play, but I haven't seen the play called back.
Okay.
But like Fred says, and he's right, the Lions had 3 chances to get a two-point conversion. They had 3 chances. And when they got penalized, and it's back on a 7-yard line, I would have kicked the extra point there and let's go play overtime. I mean, Dallas has struggled all night long. Why not play overtime? Although I was sure as they were going down the field, I said, if he scores, doggone well, he's going to go for 2.
He will.
So it was a great play.
It was a good game overall.
If they ever get to that, I'll tell you one thing: if you're playing the Lions in the playoffs, and they got if 68 or 70, whatever their name, whatever his number is, and he's over there on the left side on the end, put a guy on him because this is that play.
Yeah. You live and you learn. All right, so what are you and Fred and Owen working on for today?
We're trying to find stories that'll make you Michigan fans a little more nervous.
Good luck.
You'll be sweating bullets.
Good
Just wait around here till next Monday afternoon. The game's closer and closer. And by the way, all the hype from Houston, there's going to be no hype on Washington. All the hype's going to be on Harbaugh and Michigan. It's all it's going to be.
Is this, no matter what,
all you're going to hear.
Is this season going to have an asterisk on it for Michigan?
Well, if you're a hater, it will. If you're not a hater, I mean.
There were some haters that said it would be tainted.
I think they earned their way. I mean, they played their way. They played their way. But if they lose, then they played their way out too. But it's just going to be a commercial for Michigan football for the next week down there. A commercial is what it's going to be.
All right. Well,
what's the saying they use? It's great to be a Michigan Wolverine.
If you want to give me a call, that's actually my ringtone.
Is it really?
So, yes. If you want to try it out.
You should have seen the airplane I was on last night coming back to Michigan from St. Petersburg with all those Michigan fans on that plane. And Allegiant has no Wi-Fi, so when we all got on the plane, it was halftime. And they didn't know. They're all, the whole plane. So it looked like the Michigan booster plane. So the pilot comes on, he says, I understand you guys want to know the score.
He said in his pilot voice.
Yeah, and he didn't know football. He just says, let me see. It's Alabama 17, Michigan 13. And it just groans because Michigan led 13-10 when these people got on a plane. So then 25 minutes later, he says, update from the cockpit. I thought he was talking about when we were going to land.
Right, as one would.
He says it's Alabama 20, Michigan 13. They tell me 4 minutes to go. I mean, we had to, hyperventilation was. So then.
That's not what you want on a plane.
So then out of nowhere, he says 10 minutes later, update, Michigan scored 20, 90 seconds ago. Just erupted.
Rough.
Just erupted.
Rough.
So he doesn't really say a word till he says pilot in the cockpit, he says we're approaching our landing. Be down in 10 minutes. Thank you for flying Allegiant. Oh, and good news, Michigan won. Didn't even tell the score. He didn't even tell the score. He didn't give. He just says, "Oh, good news, Michigan won." So there you. And the moment on an airplane when you hit the runway, all the cell phones come back on.
Absolutely.
So everybody can get all the details and all that. It was. Those. So they were all sitting in the airport bar in the first half. I'm watching all these pictures. They're like locusts in there, and they're maize and blue, just like locusts. They're everywhere. And when there was a bad play, when Alabama scored early, they're going all but throwing beer and wine at the screen. But then when they scored again, boy, cheers. They love their blue.
That's college football
just like
for you.
you. They love their blue.
Hey.
Wonder what you'll be like next Tuesday.
You know what? You guys are going to want to tune in to this show next Tuesday to see how it goes. I'm either going to be sobbing and have somebody else do this.
I'm only appearing here if it's a Michigan loss.
What? No. What, are you going to make Fred come if it's a Michigan
I don't
win?
care who you get if they win. You can go get anybody. But if they lose, I'm more than happy to come in and, drown your sorrows and whatever.
All right. Well, Happy New Year, Tim.
Same to you.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
I didn't think you'd miss me, and now I know why. Now you know why.